people talk about tech and feel like they're speaking another language? Someone says your RAM is too low or you should clear out your cache and you have no idea what they mean. You're not alone. Technology moves fast, and with it comes a lot of confusing jargon. But today we're going to break it all down into simple, easy to understand language so you can feel more confident with your devices. Whether you're using a computer, smartphone, tablet, or other gadget, knowing these terms will help you fix problems faster, make better choices when buying new tech, and even stay safe online. We'll be covering 6 major areas of tech today: hardware, software, phones, gadgets, online services, and scams and security. By the end of this video, you'll be able to confidently understand and use these terms without second guessing yourself. And if there's a term we don't cover that you really want to learn about, drop it in the comments and we'll cover it in a future video. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started with the foundation of all tech: hardware. Whether you're using a computer, a phone, or a smart TV, they all have similar basic components. Knowing what these parts do can help you troubleshoot problems, decide what specs you need, and even avoid spending money on unnecessary upgrades. First, let's get started with the CPU, the brain of your device. The CPU, or central processing unit, is the brain of your computer or phone. It handles all the calculations and processes needed to run your apps, browse the internet, or perform any task on the device. The faster the CPU, the smoother your device will run. CPU speed is measured in gigahertz, or GH lowercase z. Higher numbers usually mean better performance. You might hear names like Intel Core i5, i7, or AMD Ryzen. These refer to different models of CPUs. If your computer feels slow when opening programs, a weak CPU could be the reason. Now let's go over RAM, or random access memory. RAM is like your device's short-term memory. It temporarily stores data for the apps and programs you're using. The more RAM you have, the faster and smoother your computer will feel, especially when multitasking. If you open too many browser tabs or run multiple programs at once and your system slows down, low RAM might be the problem. 4 GB of RAM is okay for basic tasks, but for smooth performance, 8 GB or more is recommended on computers. Phones also have RAM. Higher-end phones have about 6 GB to 12 GB for smoother multitasking. If you're constantly frustrated with slowdowns, upgrading RAM can be a simple and affordable fix for a PC. Next, let's talk about where your files are stored. You might have heard terms like SSD and HDD, but what's the difference? An HDD, or hard disk drive, is an older storage type with spinning disks, slower with more prone to damage, but cheaper. An SSD, or solid-state drive, is newer, faster, and more reliable storage, and it boots up in seconds and loads apps faster. If your computer takes forever to start up, switching from an HDD to an SSD can make it feel brand new again. The GPU, or graphics processing unit, is like a specialized version of the CPU that handles visuals. If you're into gaming, video editing, or anything that involves high-quality graphics, a good GPU is a must. An integrated GPU are built into the CPU, good for casual users. Dedicated GPUs are separate and much more powerful, needed for gaming or professional work. If your videos are choppy or games are lagging, your GPU might not be powerful enough. The motherboard is the nervous system of your computer. It connects the CPU, the RAM, storage, and other components together, making sure everything communicates properly. If you're building or upgrading a PC, make sure your motherboard supports your CPU and RAM type. This is a common stumbling block that first-time PC builders struggle with. Older motherboards may not support newer parts, so checking compatibility is important. I use PCPartPicker.com for this task. Think of the motherboard as the foundation, and without it, none of the other parts can work together. The power supply unit, or PSU, is what converts electricity from your wall outlet into usable power for your computer. If your computer randomly shuts off or doesn't turn on, a failing power supply could be the cause. Not all power supplies are equal. Cheap ones can fail and even damage your components. Always make sure your power supply is strong enough for your system, especially when upgrading your hardware. Ever notice your laptop gets hot and suddenly slows down? That's called thermal throttling, when a device slows itself down to prevent overheating. This happens when fans are clogged with dust or your laptop is placed on a soft surface, blocking ventilation. Cooling pads and cleaning out dust can help prevent this issue. If your computer or phone gets really hot and slows down, make sure it's well ventilated. It's in a well ventilated area and that the fans are working properly. Overheating can permanently damage the hardware on both your computer and your phone. The BIOS is a special software that runs before your operating system starts. It controls basic settings like boot order, fan speed, and even password protection for your computer. You can access the BIOS by pressing the key like F2 or delete when turning on your computer. It can vary by motherboard and hardware. You can enable or disable certain hardware settings from here. If your computer won't boot properly, checking the BIOS settings can sometimes help fix the issues. That wraps up a look at hardware. Even if you don't need to upgrade your system, just knowing these parts can help you troubleshoot problems and make better buying decisions. Now let's move on to software, where we'll talk about operating systems, updates, and why cache files can slow things down. Now that we've covered hardware, let's talk about software, the programs and systems that keep your device running. If you've ever been confused about updates, drivers, or why clearing your cache helps, this section is for you. Every device from your laptop to your phone runs on an operating system, or OS. This is the software that manages all the programs, apps, and settings on your device. The most common ones are as follows: Windows, the most common one for personal computers; Mac OS, Apple's operating system used on Mac computers; Linux, a flexible OS mostly used by tech-savvy users or businesses; and Android and iOS, the two main mobile operating systems. Your OS controls everything from how your screen looks to how your files are organized. Keeping it updated helps improve security and performance. Firmware is a type of software built into devices like your router, smart TV, or even microwave. It tells the hardware how to function. It's pre-installed and rarely needs to be changed by users. Updating firmware can fix bugs and security flaws. Your router, for example, should have its firmware updated regularly. If a device stops working correctly, checking for a firmware update can sometimes fix the issue. Drivers are small pieces of software that help your computer communicate with hardware like your printer, speakers, or graphics card. Without a driver, your hardware won't function properly. Updates to drivers can improve performance or fix problems, especially with graphics cards, which usually have weekly or even daily updates as new games and software comes out. If your printer suddenly stops working, updating the driver might solve the problem. Cache is a collection of temporary files that helps websites and apps load faster, but over time, too much cache can slow things down. Your browser saves cache so websites load faster. Apps save cache to remember settings and preferences. Clearing the cache frees up space and can fix app issues. If a website isn't loading correctly or an app is acting up, clearing the cache often helps. A virtual machine, or VM, lets you run the operating system in one operating system inside another. It's like having a second computer inside your existing one. Useful for testing new software or using older programs, some businesses use VMs for security reasons. If you ever wanted to run Windows inside a Mac or test a new OS without installing it, a VM is the way to go. The kernel is the part of the OS that manages how software and hardware interact. It handles things like memory usage, file management, and running apps. You don't interact with the kernel directly, but it's what makes an OS function. A corrupted kernel can cause system crashes. That's why updates are so important. Think of the kernel as the middleman running between your hardware and software. It keeps everything running smoothly. Now that we've covered hardware and software, let's talk about smartphones. Whether you're using an iPhone or Android, you'll probably come across a bunch of tech terms that sound confusing. Let's break them down so you can better understand how your phone works and what features you actually need. Every phone has a unique IMEI number, or International Mobile Equipment Identity Number, that helps identify it. Think of it as the digital fingerprint of your phone. It's used by most carriers to track stolen devices and prevent them from being used on their network. You can find it by dialing #06# or on most phones, or looking in your settings under About Phone. If your phone gets stolen, you can report the IMEI to your carrier to block it, making it useless to thieves. If you're ever buying a used phone, always check the IMEI number to make sure that it's not stolen or blacklisted. You've probably seen 4G LTE or 5G pop up on your phone or in advertisements, but what does it mean? 4G stands for fourth generation, the standard mobile network most people have been using for years now. If you're older and had a phone before a smartphone, you probably also remember 3G. LTE stands for long term evolution, the faster version of 4G that provides better speeds and coverages. 5G stands for fifth generation, the newest technology that with even faster speeds and lower latency. For everyday use like streaming and browsing, 4G LTE is still fast enough for most people. But if you want the fastest speeds for gaming, video calls, or downloading big files, 5G is the way to go if your area has good coverage. You might have seen a phone listed online as unlocked or in an advertisement that way, but what does it actually mean? A locked phone is tied to a specific carrier like Verizon or AT&T and can't be used with another provider unless unlocked. An unlocked phone can be used on any carrier by simply swapping out the SIM card. Some people buy unlocked phones to avoid contracts or to use them with local SIM cards when traveling. If you want flexibility with your carrier, buying an unlocked phone is a great option, but make sure the phone supports your carrier's network before switching. A SIM card is the small chip inside your phone that connects to your carrier's network. Physical SIM cards are removable and can be swapped between phones. eSIM, or embedded SIM, is a digital version that doesn't require a physical card, it's built into the phone. If your phone doesn't recognize your SIM, restarting the phone or resetting the SIM card can help. If you travel a lot, swapping SIM cards instead of paying for expensive roaming can save you a lot of money. Every time you install an app or listen to someone talk about app security, they talk about app permissions. But do you know what you're agreeing to? Some apps ask for unnecessary access, like a flashlight app wanting to know your location. You can check and adjust app permissions inside your phone's settings to control what apps can see. If an app seems like it's asking for too much access, it's better to deny the request. Ever notice your battery draining even when you're not using your phone? That's often due to background app refresh. Apps update in the background so they're always up to date when you open them. You can turn this off for non-essential apps to save battery and data. Check your settings. Disabling background app refresh on social media apps can extend your battery life significantly. Phones aren't the only tech we use every day. There are tons of gadgets that make life easier, but the terminology can get confusing. Let's break down some common ones you might come across. Smart home devices, like Alexa, Google Home, and smart thermostats can make life more convenient. But what exactly are they? Smart speakers are voice-controlled assistants that can set reminders, play music, and control other smart devices. Smart thermostats adjust temperature based on schedules or voice commands to save energy. Smart plugs can turn regular devices into smart ones by allowing remote control via an app. If you're just starting with smart home devices, a smart plug is a great way to test the waters without spending too much. You might have seen a news article talk about IoT, or the Internet of Things, and it's how devices talk to each other. Smart home devices, fitness trackers, and even some refrigerators are IoT devices. They collect and share data to make everyday tasks easier. Security is important though. Always use strong passwords for IoT devices to prevent hacking. If one device gets compromised, it can compromise your other devices and even accounts unconnected to those devices if it gets down the road long enough. If a device connects to the internet and can be controlled remotely, it's part of the Internet of Things. Both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi can connect devices wirelessly, but they serve different purposes. Bluetooth is for short-range connections like pairing headphones or a smartwatch. Wi-Fi is for internet access, letting you browse the web and stream content. If your Bluetooth connection keeps dropping, try moving closer or removing interference from other devices. Wearables aren't just smartwatches anymore. There are tons of devices designed to track and improve your daily life. Fitness trackers count steps, measure heart rate, and track sleep. Smart glasses use augmented reality to display information right in front of your eyes. There are health wearables that monitor blood pressure or blood sugar levels for medical use. Wearables aren't just for tech lovers, they can help with health, fitness, and even productivity. RFID, or radio frequency identification, is used in more places than you might think. It's a wireless technology that stores and transmits data. It's used in credit cards for contactless payments, found in key fobs for secure access to your car or inside a building. and even used for store security tags to prevent theft. If you're worried about RFID skimming, wallets with RFID blocking technology can help keep your card secure. Wireless charging pads use electromagnetic fields to transfer power to your phone without plugging it in. It works best with the official charging pads. Cheaper ones may not be as reliable and use a lower wattage. It's slower than wired charging, but convenient for overnight use. If your phone supports wireless charging, placing it in a charging pad instead of plugging it in can make life easier. Now that we've covered hardware, software, phones, and gadgets, let's talk about something we use every day: the internet. Whether you're streaming a video, shopping online, or just checking emails, you've probably seen terms that don't make a lot of sense. Let's break them down so you can understand how the internet works and how to stay safe online. A VPN, or virtual private network, helps keep your internet activity private by encrypting your connection. A VPN hides your real location and makes it harder for websites or hackers to track you. Often used to secure public Wi-Fi connections like at a coffee shop or a hotel. Some people use VPNs to access region-locked content on streaming services. If you use public Wi-Fi a lot, a VPN can help keep your data safe from hackers. Instead of saving files on your computer or phone, cloud storage lets you store them online so you can access them from anywhere. Examples are services like Google Drive, iCloud, Dropbox, or OneDrive. It helps free up space on your devices, and files are backed up automatically, reducing the risk of losing important documents or photos. If you're constantly run out of storage on your phone, moving files to the cloud can free up space while keeping them accessible. Ever wonder why some websites take forever to load while others are instant? It comes down to bandwidth and latency. Bandwidth is how much data can be sent at once, like a highway with multiple lanes. More bandwidth equals faster speed. Latency is how long it takes for data to travel, like how long it takes for a car to start moving. Lower latency equals better performance. If your video keeps buffering, you might need more bandwidth. If your online game lags, high latency could be an issue. Every device connected to the internet has an IP address, which is like a digital home address. A public IP address is assigned by your internet provider and identifies your connection. A private IP address is assigned by your Wi-Fi router to devices inside your home. If a website blocks your access, it's usually blocking your public IP address. DNS, or Domain Name Systems, is your internet's address book. The DNS translates website names into IP addresses so you don't have to type in numbers like 192.168.1.1 when you visit a website. If a website won't load, the DNS could be the reason. Switching to a faster DNS server, like Google's 8.8.8.8, can sometimes speed up browsing. If you've ever seen an error saying DNS server not responding, this is why. Cookies, not the tasty kind but the internet kind, are small files that websites store on your device to remember things like login info, shopping carts, and settings. They're useful for keeping you logged in and keeping track of your preferences, but some cookies track your browsing habits across multiple websites, which is why you see targeted ads. You ever read a news article about a product and then log on to Amazon and see it being advertised to you as something you may be interested in? That's because of a cookie stored onto your computer. You can delete cookies in your browser settings if you want to clear out your digital footprint. When you stream, you're watching or listening to content live without saving it to your device. When you download, you save the file and can access it later. Streaming services require constant internet connections for services like YouTube or Netflix. Downloading lets you watch offline, like Spotify downloads or saved YouTube videos. If you have a limited data plan, downloading movies and music ahead of time can save bandwidth and also a headache if you lose connection. Dark web versus deep web. What's the difference? People often confuse these terms, but they're very different things. The deep web is private, unindexed content, emails, banking, and medical records, which you can't find through Google or other search engines. The dark web is a hidden part of the internet used for anonymity. It can be legal for things like whistleblowing or journalism, or often illegal for things like black markets. Most people use the deep web every day without realizing it, every time you check your email or online bank account. The internet has changed a lot over the years, and you might have heard people talking about Web 1.0, Web 2.0, or even Web 3.0. But what do these mean? Web 1.0, the read-only internet, lasted from about the 1990s to the early 2000s. This was the early internet where most websites were static, meaning you could read content but not interact with it much. Think of early websites like news pages or online encyclopedias. You could read, but there was no social media, comments, or likes. Most sites were made by businesses, and regular people weren't really creating content yet. It was basically a big digital library with no way to respond or participate. Web 2.0, or the social internet, came about in the mid 2000s and has been lasting to today. Web 2.0 introduced interaction. Now you can comment, like, and post and share content. It's the internet that we know it. Social media, blogs, and video sharing became popular on Facebook, YouTube, Wikipedia, or Twitter. User-generated content exploded. Regular people, not just businesses, now contribute to the web. Ads and data tracking became a big part of how websites make money, which is why you get personalized ads, or why Google knows what you searched last week. Web 3.0, or the decentralized internet, is the internet of the future. It's still in development, but focuses on privacy, security, and decentralization, putting more control back into users' hands instead of big companies. It uses blockchain technology to make websites and apps less reliant on big corporations. Focuses more on privacy and user ownership of data. The idea is that users can interact without companies tracking everything they do. If Web 2.0 is like social media and streaming, Web 3.0 is about privacy, digital ownership, and fewer middlemen. Now that we've covered online terms and the evolution of the web, let's move on to something more important: how to protect yourself from online scams. Knowing these terms will help you stay safe and avoid falling for common traps. Phishing, the number one online scam. Phishing is when scammers send fake emails, texts, or messages pretending to be a trusted company or person. Often asks you to click a link to provide personal information, and can often recreate websites or messages from official sources. Common in fake emails from banks or delivery services. If an email or text seems urgent and asks for info, always double check before clicking anything. Go to the official website and see if you have any messages there. Don't click on any links within the email or message. Two-factor authentication, or 2FA, is extra security for your accounts. 2FA adds an extra step to log in by requiring a second verification, like a text message code. It prevents hackers from logging in even if they steal your password. Many banks, email providers, and social media sites offer 2FA for free. If you're not using 2FA, turn it on today. It's one of the easiest ways to protect yourself online. Ransomware is a type of malware that locks your computer and demands payment to unlock them. It's usually spread through phishing emails or fake downloads. Paying the ransom doesn't guarantee you get your files back, though, just like with any real-world ransom. The best defense is backing up your files regularly so you never lose important data. Malware is short for malicious software. It's a type of program designed to harm, steal, or spy on your devices without your permission. It can come from suspicious downloads, phishing emails, fake apps, or even infected USB drives. The types of malware are viruses, programs designed to spread by attaching themselves to files and software. Trojan horses, disguised as legitimate software but secretly install harmful programs to run in the background. Spyware, which tracks your activity and steals sensitive data like passwords without you even knowing. And ransomware, that locks your files and demands payment to restore access. And adware, which bombs you with pop-up ads that may track your browsing habits. How to stay safe from malware? Avoid downloading files or clicking links from unknown sources. Keep your operating system and apps up to date. Updates often contain security patches. Use a reputable antivirus program to scan for threats like Norton Antivirus or Malwarebytes. Be cautious of free software. Many free downloads bundle in adware or spyware without you knowing. Never open email attachments from senders you don't recognize. If your device is running slower than usual, showing pop-up ads, or acting strangely, you may have malware. Running a security scan and deleting suspicious apps can help clean up your system. Social engineering is when scammers trick you into giving them access to your accounts. They might pretend to be from tech support and ask for your passwords. Some scams use fear tactics, like saying your bank account is compromised. Always verify who you're talking to. Real companies never ask for sensitive info over the phone. You may have seen news stories talking about a zero-day exploit in certain company software. It's a security flaw in software that hackers discover before the company can fix it. It's used by cyber attacks to steal data. The best protection is to keep your software up to date to get security patches. Ignoring software updates can leave your device vulnerable to attacks. Spoofing is when scammers fake their identity to trick you. They can fake emails to look like they're from a legit company or phone calls that appear from your bank or government agency. If a call or email seems suspicious, call the company directly to verify. Keyloggers are programs that record everything you type, including passwords. They're often installed through phishing emails or fake software downloads. Use antivirus software to help detect and remove them. If your account keeps getting hacked, running a security scan for a keylogger is a good idea. Hackers use automated programs to guess passwords over and over until they get it, using brute force attacks. Their short or common passwords, like password 123, are easier targets for them. Using a long, unique password with a password manager helps protect this. If you're using 123456 as your password, it's time to change it. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is everywhere now, from voice assistants like Alexa and Siri to recommendation algorithms on YouTube and Netflix. AI is shaping the way we interact with technology. But with all these advancements, it's easy to get lost in the jargon. Let's break some of the down some of the terms you've heard. Artificial intelligence, AI. AI refers to computer programs that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, like understanding language, recognizing images, or making decisions. AI powers things like voice assistants, self-driving cars, and even customer service chatbots. It's used in healthcare, finance, and entertainment to analyze data and improve services. If you've ever asked Siri or Google Assistant a question, you've interacted with an AI. Machine learning is a type of AI where a system learns from data and improves over time without needing to be reprogrammed. It's used in spam filters, fraud detection, and even predicting weather patterns. Streaming services like Netflix and Spotify use machine learning to recommend movies and music based on what you've watched or listened to already. The more data an AI system gets, the better it gets at making predictions and giving accurate recommendations. Neural networks are a key part of AI. They're designed to work like a simplified version of the human brain by recognizing patterns and data. It's used in image recognition, speech processing, and deepfake creation. It helps AI understand complex relationships like distinguishing between different types of handwriting. Neural networks are why AI can recognize your face in photos or transcribe what you say in text. Deep learning is a specialized type of machine learning that uses multi-layered neural networks to analyze data in even more complex ways. It powers voice assistants, self-driving cars, and advanced robotics, and it's used for creating realistic AI images, videos, and even text. Deep learning is why a chatbot can understand and respond in a natural way. Natural language processing, or NLP, is what allows AI to understand, interpret, and generate human language. It's used in translation apps, chatbots, and voice assistants. It's why AI can detect sentiment in text and suggest auto-replies in messaging apps. If you used autocorrect, auto-generated email replies, or Google Translate, you've used an NLP. Deepfakes are AI-generated videos that can make it look like someone is saying or doing something they never actually did. They use deep learning to swap faces, mimic voices, and create highly realistic fake content. How deepfakes are used. They're used in entertainment. Some are made for fun, like swapping actors in the movie scenes. They're used for misinformation. They can be used to spread false news or impersonate public figures. And criminals have started using deepfakes for fraud, like fake video calls to impersonate executives or family members. How to spot a deepfake. Look for natural blinking or facial expressions. Check the voice, it sounds slightly robotic or off. And watch for glitches where the face doesn't align properly with the body. As deepfake technology improves, spotting them gets harder. Always fact-check videos from unverified sources before believing and sharing them. Not all chatbots are created equal. Some are simple, following a preset script, while others use AI to hold real conversations. A traditional chatbot follows fixed rules that only respond to certain keywords. AI chatbots like ChatGPT and Bard learn from conversations and can respond in more natural ways. AI chatbots are why customer service bots are getting better at answering questions instead of just saying, "I don't understand," all the time. Generative AI can create new text, images, videos, and even music from scratch. ChatGPT generates human-like text responses, Dolly and Midjourney create AI-generated images, and deepfake technology allows AI to manipulate videos and audio. This technology is why AI can write articles, generate fake artwork, and even clone voices. While AI is incredibly powerful, it also comes with some risks and ethical concerns. There's bias in AI. AI models can have inherent biases from the data they've been trained on. We saw this with Google last year. Privacy issues. AI-powered cameras and voice assistants raise concerns about surveillance and data security. There's a ton of misinformation that's coming from AI. Deepfake videos and AI-generated articles and images can be used to spread false information. As AI continues to develop, it's important to be aware how it's being used and what data we're sharing with it. AI is changing the way we interact with technology, and understanding these terms help you keep up to date with the latest advancements and news about it.
I hear people talk about cache memory on my phone and computer. Is that different from RAM?
Great question, Maria. Yes, cache memory and RAM are different, but both help speed up things. Cache memory stores small amounts of frequently used data so apps and websites can load faster. RAM, on the other hand, temporarily stores all the data your computer or phone is actively using. If your device is running slowly, clearing the cache can help free up space, but adding more RAM can improve performance long term.
What's the difference between a router and a modem? I thought they were the same thing.
Great question, Jason. They work together but do different things. A modem connects your home to the internet by bringing in the signal from your internet provider. A router takes the signal and creates your home Wi-Fi and internet network so multiple devices can connect wirelessly. Some devices are a modem-router combo, but in most cases, they're separate.
What does latency mean in gaming? My son keeps saying it's why his game is lagging.
Latency is the delay between when you press a button and when the game responds. It's measured in milliseconds. The lower the number, the better. Low latency, under 50 milliseconds, means smooth gaming. High latency, over 100 milliseconds, causes lag where actions feel delayed. If your son is experiencing lag, he might need a wired internet connection through the Ethernet port on the device and your router, or he may need to change to get closer to the game server in the game settings.
I've heard of bandwidth throttling, but what is it, and how do I stop it?
Bandwidth throttling happens when your internet provider slows down your connection on purpose, usually during peak hours or if you're using too much data. Some providers do this to manage network congestion. It can also happen if you're hit with a data cap on your internet plan. If you're experiencing slow speeds often, you might need to upgrade to an unlimited data plan or use a VPN to see if throttling is affecting your connection.
What's the difference between a proxy server and a VPN? I keep seeing both mentioned for privacy.
Great question. A proxy server and a VPN both hide your IP address, but they work differently. A proxy server only hides your identity for specific apps or websites, like your browser. A VPN encrypts your entire internet connection, making everything you do private. If you want to access a blocked website, a proxy is fine, but if you want to protect your online identity, a VPN is the better choice.
What does end-to-end encryption mean? I see it on messaging apps like WhatsApp.
End-to-end encryption means that only the sender and recipient can read a message. No one in between, not even the app company, can see it. Apps like WhatsApp, Signal, and iMessage use end-to-end encryption to keep messages private. Some apps, like Facebook Messenger, require you to turn it on manually. If privacy is important to you, always check if your app you're using supports end-to-end encryption.
I keep hearing about botnets. What are they, and should I be worried?
A botnet is a network of hacked computers controlled by cybercriminals. They use botnets to send spam emails, launch cyber attacks, or mine cryptocurrency without you knowing. If your computer is infected, it might run slower, overheat, or act strangely. To stay safe, never click suspicious links, use strong passwords, and keep your antivirus software updated.
What's the difference between a hard drive and an SSD? Is it worth upgrading?
Hard drives, HDDs, use a spinning disk to store data. They're cheaper but slower. Solid-state drives, SSDs, use flash memory and have no moving parts. They're way faster and more reliable. If your computer takes forever to start up, switching to an SSD can make a huge difference. Wow, we've covered a lot here today, from hardware and software to the internet security scams and AI. There's a ton of tech jargon out there, but hopefully this video helped clear things up. Technology is always evolving and new terms pop up all the time, but the more you understand, the more confident you'll be in using your devices, protecting yourself online, and keeping up with the latest advancements. Now I want to hear from you. Are there any tech terms you've heard that still don't make sense, or maybe you have a favorite tech tool that you swear by? Drop your questions and thoughts in the comments below, and we'll be reading and responding. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future tech breakdowns. We post tech tips and explainers every week, so stay tuned for more ways to simplify your digital life.